Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomat YouTube channel. You got your boys here, Landy Burt, the Dividend Diplomat. Happy 2024, everybody. On our blog, Landy put out his January watch list. Today on the YouTube channel, I'm putting out my January watch list. I got two stocks in my portfolio that are showing signs of undervaluation right now that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on over the next 31 days in January.
Guys, smash that subscribe button. Give Bert the hurt and I a nice thumbs up. Let's get to 20,000 subscribers. Gosh dang it, for Pete's sake. Help me help you. Help us help you. Let's get to 20,000, guys. It takes 2 seconds. We appreciate the love and support because we're trying to help you as an investor get to financial freedom. Bert, you got two stocks here. Totally dig it, man.
Yeah, it's hard to find undervalued stocks, especially after the rocket ship that we experienced in December 2023, because everyone suspects that interest rates are coming down. So stocks are just flying higher and higher. But there are still two stocks that are undervalued. We run them through our screener, which features three metrics: the PE ratio less than the S&P 500, payout ratio less than 60%, history of increasing dividends, and that bonus metric, the dividend yield.
For two stocks that were down in 2023, surprisingly, trailing the S&P 500. Two very large,
Yes,
when
very.
you think of market cap stocks here, especially one of them who's a dividend aristocrat.
That's
You
right.
know
One
what I
of them's
mean?
halfway to
So,
becoming that aristocrat. So let's jump right in here. Let's talk about that first company here. Pfizer, ticker symbol PFE. They were just my top stock pick of the week, which we released yesterday on Monday. Happy New Year's Day, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed all those bowl games. There's that caveat there. If anyone played. All right, different story. Pfizer. They got crushed at the end of the year. They were down 43% in 2023. They missed revenue in their last quarter, which was the second straight quarter they've missed. And sales from Paxlovid absolutely plummeted. It was down 97% year over year. So Pfizer got that COVID boost that saw their sales skyrocket, and it came tumbling right back down to earth after the run was over. So now they're back to kind of where they were before COVID. They're back, and now they're trying to figure out what's going to be that sales catalyst once again.
gonna have to figure this out for sure. It seems like they're trying to right the ship here. Obviously, they'll be, doing some cost cutting, and they got a nice pipeline coming up. I think it'll be nice to get some real year-over-year comparisons without the COVID years. I'm excited to see them cross that 60 billion in revenue threshold without COVID. And I think they can do it. I think this is a company that's
Sure.
tried and true, they've gone through cycles before,
Mhm.
and I think they're just getting out of one right now.
Yeah, and one of the positive things was they just launched an RSV vaccine, a Breezeville, whatever, however you pronounce it. It pumped out 375 million in US revenue. And my wife's in the medical profession, and just from being around, RSV is there's a lot of RSV going around right now. So the having a vaccine to help with that could be a huge catalyst here for Pfizer. So with that, they slashed the guidance in the last earnings release. And you said they can get to 60 million. Management on the high end of their range, Lanny, is expecting 60 billion in revenue. Actually expecting 61 billion in revenue on the high range. It's 58 to 61 billion, and earnings per share of 145 to 165 on an adjusted share basis, down from 100 billion of revenue in the previous year. So that right there, as you can see, that's a $40 billion gap from losing revenue on Paxlovid.
And it's amazing, guys. But I'm excited to see what they can do, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing to it, guys, but to do it. And if there's a company that can, let's give it up for Pfizer here in 2024. Again, they were down over 40% in 2023. But Bert, viewers are curious. How do the metrics stack up right now for Pfizer? What's the PE? What's the payout? What's the growth here? What do we got?
Yeah, their last price is 28.79. So I always think it's amazing when Pfizer's under 30. That's really what popped this up on the watch list. Their price was 28.79, earnings per share 227. That's a PE ratio of 12.68, less than half
You
of
know,
the S&P 500.
You got it. And you and I both know that the pharmaceutical is kind of in that lower PE ratio valuation standpoint, anyways. So they're probably around their competitors when you think of Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, AbbVie. Um, but 12.68, not too bad. When you look at the payout ratio, they did increase that dividend come the end of the year, guys. They did announce that, hey, we'll take it. We will take it because it wasn't expected. They did go from 41 to 42 cents per share per quarter, or $1.68 per
Mhm.
year. The payout ratio then is at 74%. Definitely much higher than what we're used to seeing for Pfizer.
Right. That's very true. And that's what happens when the earnings get slashed. So not expecting strong dividend growth anytime. Their 5-year dividend growth rate's 4.95%. They've increased that dividend for 13 years. But again, not expecting them to hit 5% dividend growth until they start seeing some other catalysts take off.
Not expecting it, but hey, it's
It would be,
okay.
we can hope
It's
for it
okay.
though. We're not expecting it, but we're definitely hoping.
Yield though is swelled up to almost 6%, guys. So you're getting paid maybe to wait. Maybe you're getting paid for the risk that comes with Pfizer right now. So 12 PE, 74% payout, 5% average dividend growth rate, currently yielding closer and closer to 6%. They actually finished the year off strong.
Yeah, not as bad. Um, they had a little
Yeah,
rebound there at the end.
yeah, I would say the last 5 days went up, crossed over. I want to say at one point when they were at 26 on mid-December, those last 15 days, when you go up $2.50, you went up about
Yeah,
10%.
yeah, that's right. So they're off the bottom. And another interesting fact here with Pfizer is their ex-dividend date's coming up at the end of January. It's January 25th for that March 1st dividend. So anything that would be purchased over the next few weeks are going to feel that immediate impact on your dividend income.
Wow, there you have it,
Yeah.
guys. So that's Pfizer. But Bert, you have two stocks on this list.
ExxonMobil, ticker symbol XOM. We're heading over to big oil country. You've been all over Shell, Lanny. That's been one of your favorite top stock picks of the week over the last month or so. Shell's been
True.
on multiple times, and I'm finally jumping on the big oil bandwagon here because much like how I said, Pfizer closed below $30, and that caught my attention. ExxonMobil ended 2023 below $100 per share. It was 99.98 for their price.
Gotta like Exxon under $100, guys. They're starting to come back a little bit on the growth. They had a 4.4% dividend increase back in the fall, $60 billion acquisition coming up on Pioneer Resources. They're doubling down on what they're doing in the activity in the Permian Basin. And
Yeah.
hey, they're dogging it out with all the other mergers and acquisitions in the
Yeah, that
industry right now.
that kicked off quite the arms race, that Pioneer acquisition. They picked up the big guns, Chevron followed, and then I think there were a few other oil acquisitions to hit this spot. So Exxon did it, and they didn't outlay any cash. It's an all stock deal, so they still have their cash war chest to deploy when needed.
So that is ExxonMobil. So let's run them through the
Yeah,
Dividend Diplomat stock
yeah,
screener. The analysts are expecting some big numbers here, $9.21 in earnings per share based on that just under $100 share price. Bert, you got a P/E ratio below 11.
yeah. It's That's the thing. It's the oil is the cheap sector right now. It's the one where you can find some value, and you're definitely seeing that with ExxonMobil. It's rare to see Exxon in just one of the big guns in an industry like that trading so low because they are the largest of the gang. Their
Yeah,
payout ratio, their dividend is $3.80. That gives you a payout ratio of 41.26%.
these jinkies. Wow.
Yeah.
So they still have room to grow the dividend, not just pay it, but grow it probably better than 2023. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, the last 5-year DGR, it's only 2.64%, but they've been doing it for well over 25 plus years without missing a beat. We'll give them the tip of
They
the cap for what they did during COVID, just because they were strategic in keeping that streak alive, the Taker style.
Yeah, they knew exactly how long they had to wait to keep that annual increase streak going. So very kudos to you, ExxonMobil. That is why you're one of the
Yeah.
best. And their yield now is 3.80%. So they're never going to be the highest oil yielding company, but that's a very strong yield, more than double the S&P 500.
You know, you got to just tip the cap. Got to tip the cap sometimes.
Yeah. So those are the two companies, Pfizer, ExxonMobil. Give the thoughts on Exxon before we go to Pfizer. Exxon, it's just a great oil company. If you're looking to get exposure to the oil sector, always look, in my opinion, always look for the best. And this is a sector where you want to have the top, one of the big ones, whether it's Exxon, Chevron. We could have easily had Chevron in here instead of Exxon, Shell, BP, one of the big integrated oil companies that have the balance sheet, have the cash, and have the ability to turn it on, turn it off. That's, in my opinion, where I always want to be. And it might be a great time for you to pick up an aristocrat and one of the best in the oil sector.
Burgess did a mic drop final comment there on Exxon Mobil, guys.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Obviously, you know how I feel about Shell Oil. Always has been on my watch list, still is on my watch list, actually. Um, I've got big, I think energy is going to have a big year just with everything where it's headed. It'll be interesting. But what does everybody else think about Pfizer and Exxon Mobil? Are these two stocks to buy right now? Are these two stocks to buy here to start out 2024? Do you see these two stocks surging in price just like what the S&P 500 did in 2023?
Yeah, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. And remember, if you're not with us, you're against us, Jack.
That was Bert, the Herd, and Laney from the Dividend Diplomats, over and out.